Hello, hello, hello. I'm Dan Lutz, and welcome to another broadcast. I must say it's an unusual day for me. I literally overslept 2 hours and also went to bed early. So I was kind of taken back, woke up about 35 minutes ago, and I'm still drinking my tea. And yes, I do love coffee too, but I don't drink coffee. That's a whole other story. So just as a note, I'm going to, I've been playing this music as we start every broadcast. I just want to show what I'm listening to. It's called Jazz in Paris, Media Right Productions, No Copyright Music. Whenever you're doing a broadcast and you need to do something on YouTube, it is highly suggested you find some non-copyrighted music on YouTube. And there's two different kinds. One that requires you to give notice of who made the music, and others that don't. And this one, you don't. Anyway, I just wanted to point this out. They got 1.44 million views, so that's pretty good. I'll give it a like because I use it all the time, and of course, subscribe and bell. Now, they have others, so you could look at the audio library as well and see what is going on there. Anyway, so that, and I just wanted to point that out because I do use their music, and it is a good idea to give people their a notice. What do you call it? Acknowledgement that they were acknowledged that they are the ones that have created the music, and they graciously allowed people to use it. And I think it's a good uplifting music to get started with. And it's short. We got 1.1, less than 2 minutes. Gives me time to go ahead and organize some things. Now, I just spoke to Tank just before getting on, and he said, "Yeah, there's a lot of energy shift going on, so that's probably why I woke up late and so on. But it's okay. We're here, ready to get started again. Now he's chatting with Kim, so I don't know when he's going to jump on. So let me first say that I'm very happy and very focused on moving this forward, and this is why I'm putting in the effort to bring information about what we're doing, about the movement. And I have a couple of different angles that I'm coming at this from, right? So the GCR we've covered in a series, GCR, The Big Lie. And if you haven't seen it yet, I suggest that you go back and look at it. You look at any of the episodes, and I usually give a brief description next first few minutes about what that GCR is all about and why I call it The Big Lie, and how it actually led me to Manna World Holding Trust and my investigation into what was been going on with what they've said and with the resources I have available to me to confirm. So this is not something that is, I just decided one day, hey, it's a big lie. No, I took in a lot of information over a period, probably not a year, but I've been listening to, say, Thomas Williams' show, and picked up the information from what he said. And I'm always piecing things together. I listened to Benjamin Fulford, Keenan, and David Wilcock, and anything regarding what is the behind the scenes scenario that's going on. What is it that we're not being told? And I'm open. Leave myself open. I'm not going to nail myself down and say, okay, this is the way it absolutely is, because there's no way that I would absolutely know. But I can make my best guess. And actually, as a part of this background information that I'm getting, I also see it's very difficult to navigate. I have actually been working on another website, which is where we go when we go all.love, but it's wwg1wwa.love. I like that domain extension. It's a new one, .love, so I went ahead and used it. So this is basically a site where I'm looking to help sift through the information for people, provide resources, and some background for it. Now, it's not set. There is a page there. It's not what's the current version. The current version that's being developed is quite much more advanced than what is up there right now. The new version won't be uploaded until it's ready to accept members. It is there's a free members site, but in order to keep up to date and get engaged, for the purpose of the website is not only to provide the information of what's going on, try to sort it out and put it in layers, and I call them those layers red pills, so that people that are just getting into what's going on here may not get this. If they went to the most deepest information, it's a bit hard to swallow. It's a big red pill, right? So the site is set up so that you can, sift through the information, find the resources to get to that location, and then engage and become part of the digital army. And this is basically a peaceful front, let's say nonviolent. Can't even say nonviolent because of the data can be violent. Non-physical violence, even there's a do you feel hurt when you experiencing words on the screen? So it is a front in the war, and it is a shadow war, a light to dark war. So what we have not realized, though, is that this war has been waged against us in a very wide and deep fashion on every level that we can conceive of, and has been hidden. It's hidden behind the people we put into place as leaders. It's hidden in front of us on the mainstream media, newspapers, magazines. If anyone remembers an old movie, I think it was probably back in the 80s movies, and the guy literally could put on these glasses and really see what was being hidden, right? They'd see like a a billboard, and with the glasses on, it says "obey." Take them off, and it's an advertisement. But that was just pointing out that this is really what's going on. And one of the rules of this war, because there is rules of engagement, is they have to tell us what they're doing. It has to be explained in front of us. And what means that they use to do that is what we think is just the movies, fictional accounts. And the movies are used not just to inform us of what is going on and what's happening. It's also where they're taking us. So it's very deep, and so it's hard for people to basically absorb. That's why I'm trying to break it up into these levels, and then have a place also where people can be engaged with one another. And really, organize to do what's going on. So part of our the information is about waking up to this fact that we are being number one, releasing ourselves from this system. Now, and it's not about switching from capitalism to socialism. In fact, that is exactly where the deep state wants to take us, into communism. And a flavor of it, or whatever they're envisioning, it is basically meaning that you have no independence. You cannot act upon things by yourself. You always will be commanded. You will be a drone. And in fact, not only are you to be a drone and act like it, they will actually enhance your abilities with the promise of fantastic longer life, great strength, more direct access to the internet, all by getting upgrades, right? These are actually robotic type implants, things that are going to be attached to you down to the DNA level, to the surface level. So they're completely absorbing what it is to be human, to be used for their purpose. And their purpose can be quite wide and vast, because it depends how deep do you want to go and finding out what their purpose is. So on a very, red pill, tiny red pill, I was thinking calling it the pink pill, tiny pink pill, is that they're just where we're being used as in the Matrix films, kind of as their batteries, their resource that they can use so that they can build the things that they need and what they want, and that's it. It's a slave class, and we just go along with it because it's a gilded cage. Now, at a certain point, the beautiful golden cage that we're put in with Wi-Fi and nice TV and a car to go visit friends after work, and all these pleasantries that have people accepting this. One fact is that you're being used as a battery. You're being used as a resource for someone else. So if you can accept that one piece, what is the next step? How deep does that go? It gets into even the spiritual basis of, capturing souls, with physical contracts that say such, that they're doing this, and there's a reason for them to do it and why they're doing it. And if you think that that's outside of reality, and you don't accept that, you can't get to that next level, right? Because you haven't accepted everything that's going on. And so the idea is to try and lay this out and try and have a place where people can engage with one another in a social environment. So this will be a social media site that is organized as a front in the shadow war for us to go from light to dark. So I have made significant one of the issues when you develop a site is getting content together and framing it and structuring it. So that takes a bit of time. And so now it's basically being assembled now. Since I finished a lot of the content, it's now being assembled. So I know there are a lot of things like that went on the last day or so. So 3 days really. So so this is, oh my goodness, the Galactic Unicorn has been replaced by it looked like a Trojan helmet or something like that.
It's like my mask is there now, right?
Yeah.
That's good. That is my actual logo that I designed with my sons 7 years ago for our company called Hero Complex Creations. So I've used it for everything since.
There you go. It's definitely it's got kind of a super comic book superhero feel to it, but it's very menacing.
Yeah, there's another version of smiling, but
Yeah,
it's the same effect.
So and well, welcome, and I'll miss the Galactic Unicorn.
Don't worry. I'm still a Galactic Unicorn on the inside. That's what really counts.
Well, I guess that's where it counts, is if it's on the inside. So so what's going on? Do you have any news for us today?
Well, we're coming up on the first of the month, right? And it's the beginning of a new quarter. This is all RV talk. This is all RV stall talk. Yeah, but in reality, actually, everything is actually lining up, and I can't really say much more than that. But everything is all in alignment.
That's fine.
And I'd say, this weekend was a good thrashing of the bad guys, who have proven to be not so much formidable, because it's not like anything they do really creates a, it's not, they're not doing anything anymore. At this point, they're not moving money. They're not really able to do anything other than bully the bottom of the barrel kind of thing.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, in my opinion, at some point you have to stop, allowing these games to go on, and you got to kind of stand up and say, what exactly is it that you want, right? So all of the various government agency officials and all these other characters who are chimed in today, I really would like to know. I'd love for some of those guys to get on the call, tell me I'm wrong. It's none of it's true,
Mm-hmm.
But we know that's not the case, right? So
right.
They have this great opportunity, in my opinion. Well, actually, no, it's just a fact. It's all they have to do is just, lay down their weapons and go our way. And the whole everything changes. We know
if they're tired of waiting, well, let's move. You just start the wrong team.
That's right. It's like nothing they have done for the past year and a half has brought them any closer to launching their artificial global currency reset. Nothing. The Federal Reserve has not changed their rates since we told everyone that they have lost their charter. Their charter has been removed. They don't have the power to do these things anymore. The only thing that allowed them to have that power was that they had convinced everyone that they were still that. But when it's funny, that's been happening since. And I would say something interesting is that you've got these I had heard it actually first from my intuitives who were talking about it, right? And they said that there was some grid that went down. And I ran that by Kim, and right back. I ran that by Kim, and I told her, I asked her about that. I'm like, did something happen? And she said, yeah, there was. She said, yep, the grid went down, and when it did, everything else, all these alarms went off, right? All these different things went off, and they all started going crazy, right? And then they started launching, hit squads on Kim to go assassinate her. And I just want to be like, hey, dummies, like think about what you're doing, right? Your impenetrable fortress has been infiltrated, and basically you've all been found wanting, right?
You've been weighed and measured and found wanting. Yes.
Exactly. And by the way, that was the message, right? When CERN, they were trying to bring the devil back, right? So when CERN was trying to tap into the power of the devil, they got a message back from God saying, "You have been weighed and measured and found wanting."
I had not heard that before. I know that they were what they were doing at CERN is trying to open up a portal.
Right.
And they say so. and all these satanic type of ceremonies and things like that they do. And they have a statue of Shiva, the destroyer out in the. I mean, if you're gonna pick, a statue to put in front of your giant super collider, why would you pick Shiva the destroyer? I mean, if you want to pick, something, wouldn't you try and go for something positive? That's kind of the overall message, here, the people that are out there on the sides of this, if you can realize that the side that you're on is always setting up for the negative, always set up for the dark side of things. Why are you on that side if you proclaim that you're going to be doing something for the good of all?
Right.
Wake up.
Yeah, exactly.
Hashtag walk away.
Hashtag walk away. Yeah. Hashtag run away, because they've really pressed this way beyond the way beyond the limits.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate, but it's amazing with these things, right? Like, I mean, like I worked for Novo Nordisk, right? And their symbol was this, this bull that was like this Egyptian bull that they would go out and like when they told the story, I was really expecting to be really majestic, and they told it, I'm like, wow, that really doesn't sound that impressive. It's like, why did you choose that animal, right? But it's just the different things that they've exalted above, themselves, really, right? It's all idolatry is really just putting God outside of you, right? Instead of accepting the responsibility of that power, that essence, that substance being in you, right? Because that would require a tremendous amount of responsibility, right?
I have this video that I saved in one. I think it's on my knowledge playlist. So if you want to check it out, it's a young guy, wearing a black T-shirt, and he's kind of explaining what the Ten Commandments are, right, as written. Going in the original Hebrew and translated, and it starts off and it says, "I am Inky."
Really?
Yeah, and the actual word is inky, right? And the translation, right? Why? So no, we put in today's. If you would have said anything about inky, say 50 years ago, would anyone have raised an eyebrow and say, "You mean from the the 13th planet, whatever?" Yeah, and it's a Anunnaki race. No one would even have any concept of that. So to just say the translation of that says that, but the other translation, more on point to what we're discussing, and it's about you will create no you will create
no other gods before me.
Yeah, but it's more about the idolatry that you will. I'm not going to. So it said something like. you will create nothing that you worship.
Hmm.
So if you create money and then worship it, you created it. Why are you worshiping it?
Oh, that's interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
And put it in that context, right? So if you're going to carve a wooden owl, right? I made a really nice one. Oh, okay. Let me bow down to it now.
Right. I've always thought that was funny. Yeah.
So it's
Never
just
been a big
common
fan.
sense, but respect yourself, right?
Yeah.
Well, if
Yeah.
you are the creator, why would you bow down? If you were sovereign, why would you bow down?
It is really incredible, right? Because those there's all these those names kind of like the Anu and the Enril and Inky, right? Like, my friend was like, if you start talking about them, right, you're inviting them into your field, and but she's like real power. She hit me back. She's like, you know what? No, she's like, we're sovereign. Like, they have no right being in our field. We're not inviting them in. We're not entertaining them, and they're not above us, right? And I
Yeah,
was like,
you just put up
yeah,
a sign that says "Do not disturb."
right. Like, like we're good on saturated evil. We've completed all that we need. We'd appreciate it if you would go ahead and move on to your next program of world domination and whatever it is that you're looking to do. Um, Not that that was the case with those. I don't know I don't know those stories to even joke about them. To be honest, I don't want to be disrespectful to somebody unintentionally because I don't know enough about them. I mean, like, there's so many different versions of these characters. It's so hard to, you know.
It's kind of what I started off with this morning, saying that there's so much information out there. Just picking the best version that makes the most amount of sense. And why I was creating the website wwg1wwa.love, where we go one, we go all.love, is so that I can lay out the information in a way that kind of layers it and makes it kind of something you can fall into and see at what level do you or can you engage, because at the very base level of this we're looking to get rid of the corruption in government. I mean that is a very, very soft way of putting what we're engaged in, right? We're removing the
Very
corruption
soft, yeah. Yep.
from government. So most people can accept that.
Right, right. We're
Interplanetary,
talking about, yeah.
the interplanetary dominance of our breakaway civilization that has used all of the money and as they've extracted from us as batteries to build, colonies on other planets and Mars and the moon, and that's really far away for a lot of people, right? So, but if you've been engaged in on any level for any bit of time, it's something that you can consider as real. Not, I don't know. I listen to I've listened to all sorts of information. Richard Hoagland, and Monuments of Mars from 25 years ago. Listening to him and understanding, yeah, okay, I get it. There was another race on there, or some race, might have been us, who knows? But there was something. There's something else, right? And then up to date with David Wilcox and what he's doing, and now he's the mastermind of Benjamin Fulford and Neil Cleaning. That one was a little bit much for me. So I that Thomas Williams stated. I said I can understand, David Wilcox can be a little bit hard to take on certain levels. And of course, he wouldn't believe that himself, but and, I had one experience of meeting David Wilcox, and I'm absolutely certain that he won't remember me.
I'm, yeah. I bet when he's looking for funding, he'll remember you. Remember you.
Probably at that point, but no, I don't actually think, because he didn't even see me. Like I see you, like an avatar. I see.
Oh,
He
yeah, yeah,
did
yeah.
not see
Kind
me.
of.
you know, there was there were certain people that were trying to get us together to have a conversation. It was at a festival in California, and so you know, someone brought me over there, and someone brought him over to us to meet, and he didn't even see me. He was like buzzing around, trying to go, and he's going to go and do something and all this, and
Yeah.
he didn't see me at all. So that was my experience with it. But I really didn't even back then really know who he was in regards to what he was doing in the space of disclosure, alien disclosure, or anything else. So I didn't really know who he was at that time. But I did recognize him later when it did pop up, and it's okay. It's there are people to meet and people not to meet, and we were not meant to meet, at least at that time, and that's okay. But when Tom was wanting to give that, I said, well, that's a little bit of a hard pill for me to swallow, but that's okay. I can listen to the information, and if it, and at least I may be aware to kind of look that direction as things evolve, and maybe it turns out to be true, and maybe it's not. But when
Well,
he,
Thomas is very edgy, and he tends to speak about things in kind of absolute, you know, terms, right? And I think like even when we were talking in the week on the show, there's a couple things there that he said that I realized, well, this could be perceived that he means this, and then just in kind of adding a few words to what he said, he's like, right, like it's like, oh, that's what you meant. So that's important, because it's like he puts out so much dense content when he's talking
yeah,
that
yeah.
it's almost impossible to just you know have every word of that be without something that you're gonna be like, wait a minute, what's that mean, right?
Well, yeah,
um,
it took me a good 6 months of listening to pick up on things and start checking them out. Well, I had to associate them with things that are happening external to what he's talking about, and then after being able to piece some things together, I said, well, this is there's maybe something here, and then no, and then when I start seeing crossovers, other pieces of coordination, synchronicities that start bringing together, I can see that flow and where it's going, and that's why the people in my GCR sphere that I was interfacing with also then had independent connections to what was going on with the trust, not with Thomas
ah,
at all, but with the trust. So
right.
that was, it's like, okay, well, three different directions, all kind of interwoven. I said there's a path here, so let's dig deeper, let's see what's here. And so yeah, the information that comes from Thomas is very dense, is a great good word, and there's a lot of depth and width to it. So I mean, I started listening again to the Russian with Love, the third version of it. I'd already heard it once, but it's very dense, so I went back to listen to it again. Uh, so this is it's just part of our process anyway, to gather this information and to try and put it out in a way that people can join in and participate in bringing our energies together to all go in this direction, to interwove another path, right, that's stronger. The more of us that come together, these threads that get interwoven together, we become a strong cloth and we form a wonderful garment.
It's a tapestry, right? It's a tapestry that we're forming to create the whole story. Now, what's really, one of the other reasons why I think it's so important. You know, this is proven scientifically, right? This is the, um, like the split test, right? Where you're, uh, when you're, you always tell me, what was it called? When they throw the atoms on the tunnel. I want to call it the Heisenberg model when it's not. But anyway, so you have these that all possibilities are happening all the time. And if all possibilities are happening all the time, they're continually happening. So that means that each one creates a new timeline, right? So imagine that multiplied by an infinite number of decisions over an infinite amount of time. So to say this is the history, in a sense, it's like, well, is it? Is that the only history? Because in reality, I suppose you could cross timelines and I mean, definitely jump timelines and be in different places. So looking backwards, it's like you could potentially say, well, actually, there's several different versions of the exact same history that are all possibly true on different timelines, right? It all depends on kind of where where you spent most of your time and what your memories are from, and what you understand, or the historian who was recording it. And then now we've all kind of converged to be in this one place in time, right? And that's the part that's like, that's why it's so like, well, what do you hold on to with absolute certainty? You know, because science in the past however long has been so inconsiderate of the scope of all the potential realities that we know are real, right? All of the science for 100 years didn't include the existence of the energetic field that we now have established you can measure with the Schumann resonance frequency. So
And the older, let's say Maxwell, right, who recognized the ether, and Tesla
Jordan,
recognized the
Jordan Maxwell, yeah,
ether.
Tesla.
Tesla, yeah. So we're talking about the people that recognize this, who are the foundations of all of physics, right? Are all accepting that this is there. Well, why is it not being taught now, or why is it like shunned, or why is it like, well, that's not part of anything. It's not real. It's ethereal, right? Meaning it's
Huh.
uh, not real. And but it is. It is. It is what everything is exists, and how we're connected is in this manner. So to think of everything being apart is also part of dividing us, right? If nothing is connected. Well, if everything's connected, we can't be divided,
Well,
pretty much by definition.
by definition, but nevertheless, well, yeah, that's true. So the illusion is that we're different and we're
Right.
divided,
Right.
right? And then because that's the illusion, the the collective consciousness of that experience has created the world we live in. So that's why shifting the consciousness, ultimately starts with 100% personal responsibility, right? And more than anything else, it's just taking responsibility for what it is we spend our time believing, thinking about, considering, you know, and ultimately taking, speaking about and taking action on, right? Thought, word, and deed, right? That's the kind of collective expression of who we are. Thought being invisible, our words being heard, and our actions being seen for everybody. So, you know, that can move. It can move anything.
So you
In
can take that route, or you can take the three monkeys route.
the three monkeys.
Hear no evil, see
You
no
know,
evil.
we've seen. No, yeah, right. I thought you were talking about the 100 monkeys, the 100 monkeys theory.
I know I threw it out there as a curveball, but I thought it would
It's
work
good though.
pretty well. So yeah, actually, I collected a couple images of the three monkeys recently, but there's a part of the new website there it as a section on transhumanism, right? And
Really?
so I've got these three humanoid-looking things. One is doing this, the other doing so. Um, anyway, that's why it was on my mind.
So
But yeah,
it's interesting.
we are having a reality expressed in a way where we're bringing information together so that we can see the possibilities, to the big red pill, from the small pink pill up to the neon red pill. Yeah. So some of this is very uh, daunting for people, right? Because they're they're so weighed down by these things. Even Doris, for example, Doris Newman, who I've asked for people to help her out and buy some the Kringle coins from her, just to give her a helping hand. And there have been people that have helped, and I appreciate that thing. But she's weighed down, right, with these things that are. And you got to do this. It is, it's about survival, and this is so it's sometimes hard for the people that have rejected all of this stuff their whole life to now focus on it, to see that as a path, because they have all this other weight on them. And I think that this is where when we start there's release of the wealth of the world back into the hands of regular people. We have to help those people that can't hear it, can't see it, can't act on it, by taking them by the hand and helping them. That's why it's anything we can do now to help others, we should do. It adds to the energy of what we want to do. We want to help everybody and everyone be able to act and live and do what their life's goal and mission is, their soul contract. Right? Yeah.
The way I see it is like this: like it's going to take time, right? And some people don't want to be doing that, right? Some people are on their soul path and in their pursuit of whatever they're doing right now. You know, I look at it like this: like what we're gonna do is we're just gonna kind of put the message out there and just allow those people to come to us.
Yeah.
And as we work with them, what'll happen is like as you see one person do it, that example will just shine, and then someone else will do it and that'll shine, and
Yeah.
it'll just gradually and comfortably, um, but I think what's amazing is because we live in a world where, like you said, like Dolores, right? There's an urgency, right? And the urgency exists because we've known, right? There's lots of us that have known for a while, like I am here to change the world, right? Like we knew it. Like our whole lives, we've been waiting, we've been looking for the opportunity. We didn't know where it would present itself, and you know what? And then something came up, and we jumped a little early. A lot of us, right? Thinking, okay, this is it, and we jumped into it. And the reality is that that was by design from the other side, right? To drain us of our resources, drain us of our energy, drain us of our all the power behind our words, behind our credibility, behind all the work we've done up to that time. And the GCR was really a masterful tactic to just completely debilitate people, you know. So, but it didn't work. Even with that, it did not work. It's a credit to the human spirit, of the power of the people, man. They just you can't break them. You can't break them. Too strong. Too strong. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, the point is not even not to wait. Even if you think that this VCR is going to happen, I've got my GCR partners, right, and they know what I'm doing, and they see it, and they say, well, they don't lose anyway, right? They're sitting on the side of the GCR waiting, and they said, oh, if it happens over here, then okay, I'll switch.
Nope. you tell them I don't care who they're friends with. They'll be at the back of the line. They better come on board and help the cause, or I will remember. Jeez, that's the kind of stuff that drives me crazy. Actually,
Uh,
all these like the well, like certain people who shall remain nameless, right? Like, look, you and I right now. Well, somebody who had attacked both of us, kind of, except for you're the darling,
oh,
and right, and I'm the bad guy, right?
I'm sorry.
So,
I
you
don't
know,
want
I,
I don't want to put that on Cindy. Like John McCain. Sorry.
oh really? Okay, so here's my thing, right?
Yeah.
You put out a YouTube video, right? Put my name out there more, in this thing. It's like, why don't you just call me? I'm the easiest person in the world who puts himself out there. Anybody can put forth a completely half-assed effort and get a hold of me. I've made myself so public. You email me, I will call you back. Always ask anybody. I call everybody back. I make 100 phone calls at least every single day, and every single person I talk to, I give them my undivided attention. I do it every day because I know we're building a core right now, and I realize I won't always be able to do that because we're growing too fast, right? So I put that effort in. So instead of putting a public broadcast out and making everything all, public, like just call me. Like just call me. It's so much easier. So that's where I doubt. I have a little trouble with people's sincerity. You know, it's like the defense writers, right? Like no, right? We believe in the GCR, so everything they're doing really is supporting what's opposing us, right?
Right.
But then when everything goes that way, oh no, hey, we're with you guys now. Guess you were right. It's like wait, but your efforts have essentially affected the collective energetic field of everything to make this even harder for us. And they'll be the first ones to talk about, like, I have a $40 billion project I want to do. It's like, you know what? Everybody who's on board now, believe me, I take note. Is that right? Is that the fair way to do it? Absolutely, it's the fair way to do it. Absolutely, because you are the ones who have put the time in. You're the ones who put the effort in. You're the ones that care, who have been supportive, who have done your actual research, who have allowed yourself to hear things intelligently, right? And not just blindly because you want it your way. That is so valuable. I can't even put a value on that, right? That's immeasurable. So to me, those are the people who are passing the test in a sense, right? Because they're not hedging their bets.
Yeah.
They're like I'm in, right? And it doesn't mean they're not doing things to survive, right? But they're in. This is not at this point. There's no reason to have any arguments. This is when you're talking, Dan. You said you verified this with the U.S. Treasury, verified it with certain banks in uh, Europe, right? And it's just known. It's a fact, right? It's a fact. It is not a question of is the money there, is Kim in control. Those are not up for question. So the next thing is if she 100% is that, and that money is there, then what is everyone else doing? Because we're telling you repeatedly over and over again with absolute clarity. We have just done 30 something shows straight, 3 hours a pop at least, in an effort to bring people around to the conclusion. Wait a minute. The global currency reset is a plan that Tank claims Kim has direct access to prove this plan because it's real, right? I have photographs of it. There's a whole plan. The global currency reset is a plan, and it's a plan to enslave you and kill you, right? And that's just stage one, where 90% of the population is eliminated over a course of about 12 years. And then stage two is the other 10% who thought they were the boss. They get wiped out too. And then everything on the planet is given away. I mean, to me, it's kind of like this last 31 days has been so nobody anywhere has any excuse, because I thought about this, Dan. To me, I wanted to make sure I have given everything I have to play my sole purpose, to give everybody every chance, to make sure that, we take correction when we need to, that we put out evidence that's viable, that we bring in people that know what they're talking about, that we direct people the right way. 31 days, millions, would you say millions of minutes, million something minutes, right? So
Yeah, we had that's what it was. It was 1.2 million minutes, right? And the very next day, it was 1.8 million minutes. And I look later on the evening, it was 1.6 million minutes.
yeah. And hey, you know what? I'll tell you, it's crazy. I'll tell
So
you,
that means in
YouTube, you're working for the wrong people because YouTube, we're gonna come in, and we're gonna buy YouTube. We're gonna. I'm determined now. We're gonna buy your broken,
okay.
busted up place, and we're gonna have everybody working there. If you do not come around to see what's happening, because all the people you're serving them for money, and they don't even have control of it. They don't even have control of it. The money right now, there's the illusion that they do, right? Because they can still block things. But
Right.
the reality is, they don't have control of the money. So you'd think they'd be hedging their bet too, right? Sooner than later. Not waiting for the GCR. Because first of all, like your friends, right, who are like still hedging their bet on the GCR. How many times does something have to fail before you're like, I don't think this is working out? Like, how many times?
Yeah, but it's going to happen tomorrow. So they only have to wait until tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Well,
it's
tomorrow.
that's the way it goes. They're always it's just a day away, but it doesn't ever come. That's the trick with tomorrow, right? The tomorrow game is based on this is a CIA this is a technique utilized by the CIA and the MI6. They realized that if they just gave people very short periods of time, they would wait and they could perpetually drag it out for as long as they want. It's called the tomorrow game, right? So you say, oh, it looks like this is coming through tomorrow. If we'll know in the morning, if we don't know in the morning, by the evening, right? Like we'll definitely have something to sink our teeth into, right? You know what? The next day comes like, oh, you won't believe this. We had to secure some things from the cabal. Meanwhile, they're the cabal, right? Right. So we had to stop the cabal. So the cabal was coming in with some very angry forces. They snatched in the something grid and this super high tech, whatever system. I'm telling you, that job, by the way, has got to be like if you're into evil diabolical schemes, I could have so much fun creating stories every single day, like for what is today's lie that we're putting out to the world, because that's all they do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It is a interesting phenomenon to watch, but as I said, I was not sitting back and waiting, right? So we took action with with cryptocurrency that was community based, outside of their system, not manipulatable. And we took the steps to move forward. Was I involved in the GCR? Yes. We didn't say I was hedging my bets. Okay, I might have been hedging my bets if you want to look at it that way. But I also look at there was a possibility that this is not going to work, this GCR, right? And so I want to do something to create a new world economy, right? So that's what I focus on. I'm gonna focus on that because it has a possibility that we can make this happen grassroots. It's so simple. It's so just distributing the coin, and that there's enough coin, and our value comes from us, not from something that we don't have. Can't back a currency by gold if you don't have the gold. We don't have it. We have us. So taking action, means you do it, right. So when I see that there was an alignment with what is going on with the Manna World Holding Trust and the other things that I was seeing, I said there's obviously something that's going on here. So I went ahead and said, let's do this. I haven't stopped doing the TBC coin, Kringle coin. I am still doing both, right? You know, so if
of course. Now, in the Kringle coin, do you also have an agenda to genocide 90% of the world's population?
no, we're only going to genocide the 10% that is.
That was a joke, folks. There is
Yeah,
no genocide plan with Kringle. Just to be
no,
clear. Just to be clear.
that's a joke.
Yeah. So my point is, right? Exactly. Is that what you did was exactly what is what could break them open, right? You created something out of nothing. You took an idea and you worked with it and you came up with a way, based on the knowledge you had of everything that is right that you're aware of, and you created a way around it. That's great. That's great, right? Now, that is an innovative solution, right?
Right. And it means you're not waiting. Not waiting.
Right. But just buying currency, right? And then, and then especially when it comes to like guys who are heavily involved in business and successful in other ways, they know better. They know how it works, right? So once they see these things going wrong over and over again, and then to have to have a way out, right? And to realize, oh my gosh, wait, this makes sense, right? Because there's nobody who is listening, and there's nobody who hears these calls. There's nobody in the government. There's nobody in a corporate high up in a corporation. There's nobody in a bank. Nobody. None of them. None of them can deny what we've said. None of them can deny that there is one source at the head of all the world's governments. There has always been one world monarch, always. And that world monarch has always had the final and absolute say on all matters, all financial matters, as well as everything else. And it's been that way for the past, 16,500 years at least, if not longer, right? So,
But we're only 6,000 years old.
which makes the story challenging. Yeah. Yeah. Even that history is not even recorded.
Yeah.
Well, it is recorded. You don't have it.
I mean, that's the point. It's in the Bible, right? That's what kind of the reference is. So,
Yeah.
And the one thing that I was a Bible being having a lot of good in the Bible. It was assembled by the Catholic Church.
Yeah. Well, it was already assembled before that.
Well,
it was eliminated.
they
They eliminated all the Gnostic texts, the 37 books held by the Catholic Church to this day, written by Jesus himself. All this stuff.
Yeah,
but there's the great equalizer, right? So the great equalizer, right, is when one person that can see all pathways that have been taken, right? When they can see inside all different compartments and tell you what happened and how people got where and what's taken place. Now, nobody has done that like we have done that over the past year and a half. Nobody. Look, you can go to the speakproject.net. Go to speakproject.net, read that from beginning to end. It's a year of blogs. It goes play by play by play as I learn things from Kim. I wrote it out and Kim wrote it out. The only two people who write on that is me and Kim. And maybe a couple random things. I think Gunnar wrote something one time. But
I want to make a suggestion for you. I forgot to tell you until now. When you post a document, you should make a little blog about the document you post so that the notification goes out so that people can find it. Because I went back and said, oh, there's more stuff there I didn't know, right? So it'd be good if I was like got that email and said, oh, there's a new document uploaded.
Well, you know what? Actually, over the past year, I did, but we've just grown. So everything that's on the essential documents is actually in the blog somewhere. It was posted at some point, and I did write up something on it, but except for the Iron Mountain report because it was just too much. The Iron Mountain report was too much. But but honestly, like I kept it so simple intentionally. So like you can just go. It's like essential documents, the blog archives. That's it. That's all that's really there. Except for there used to be this stuff because we originally used it to start to have people sign up for the lawsuit against Wells Fargo. But but my point is, right? My point is that
I just sent Tui the link. I just remembered.
Good, Tui can come on. The point is that this past year of awakening, right? Like certain people had to come out and just be like, I mean, I had to come out and be like, I was wrong. This is what I was looking at, and here's why. right? And it wasn't easy, but at least I can empathize, right? Like, hey, anybody else who went this path, like I'm with you. I understand, right? I was all in, right? I was all in. I mean, I skipped vacations because I knew it was going. The GCR was going many times, you know. So I'm just saying that if you can just imagine the sense of freedom everyone can feel and have right now, if they just let that thing go, and we can step forward into a world where you know Fiji is sovereign, right? that the Fiji is its own, it's a sovereign nation and it's going to lead the way in this beautiful, delightful, loving people of Fiji and Hawaiians and all these different. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find me. Well, I guess there's some rough Hawaiians, but most people that interaction with Hawaiians and it's like they're such a gentle, loving, kind people, right? You feel like you go to Hawaii, like you feel like you're a brand new person, right? I'm sure it's
Yeah,
the same with Fiji.
yeah.
So
Same with
imagine,
the Philippines.
yeah. I mean, matter of fact, it's Kevin. Kevin has a daughter,
Mm.
and he he asked, but he couldn't reach her, so he asked me to call her today. Or he asked me to call her yesterday, but so I called his daughter today to talk to his 10-year-old daughter to tell her that he's okay, and she was just so grateful. She was so happy, such a sweet kid, and I just appreciated so much that she was her energy was so great. And I was just like, she just loves her dad, right? She loves her dad. And I just thought, that's that's the reality. That's the way this world works. There's so much love that is it's the foundation of everything that we are.
And that's right. It is a foundation, and that's why when we look at the other side, taking that energy away from the children, right? It's to remove that innocence, to destroy the innocence, to destroy that energy of love. So that's why we need to just realize, well, what side are you on? And if the people that are waiting in the GCR for this to come down, you know, accept what has been presented, that it is not happening, and you have been sidelined. You have been sidelined. You are taken out of the picture so that they can collapse the world. Stop helping them. Stop helping them collapse the world. Yes, I understand that you're working on the great projects and everything, and but that is the illusion that they presented, is that you are going to be the ones that are going to be able to move forward and have all this wealth to go do things, but they're not giving it to you, and you're not going to get it, and it's impossible. One of the $100 trillion notes, one. Can you imagine that you're supposed to get so much money out of that, even if it's one of those numbers, the smaller numbers, like 16 cents per dollar? Okay, still hundreds of billions of dollars in your hand. 160 billion, right? 160 billion dollars in your hand, and then you have 10 of those, or you have hundreds of those, or tens of thousands, or you have a million of those notes. How is it possible? It's not possible. Wake up. It's not possible. Wake up.
Well,
Stop
no,
feeding them your energy.
right. It is possible, but it leads to the end of the world in the genocide of all of humanity. So it is possible. It is possible. So I don't want people to think it's not. It is possible, but you have to think about the whole picture, right? It's like
Well,
and
I guess the non-possibility I was referring to is that valuation between the one who has the one of these $100 trillion notes, or
it's
dozens, right?
insane,
Or
insane,
you have container loads. Compared to the guy with container loads, are you rich or poor?
right? And then
Right?
on top, and those guys who had tons of fat money, enough to buy container loads, aren't we just basically putting them back, the bad guys back in charge again? You know,
Yeah.
like it's like who has that kind of money to
The
like
back.
blow on currency? You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Now, as a public service announcement, I do want to put this out there. Okay, there is a group that is promoting, the new humanitarian wave of projects, right? And they're trying to get people to buy in different ways, right? There's my one friend was telling me, he probably doesn't want me to mention this, but it goes back to like what the Rockefeller Foundation, right? Who he thinks he's going to have be the new king of the world, the new head of everything, and he's going to have gazillions of dollars, right? So they've got some program that you got to put up $125,000, and you're going to get back 5 million though, right? It's okay, that's a lie. Anybody asking you to put up money for anything right now, like that's anything that's like significant of any 5 grand, 10 grand, anything that's trying to take away money, do not buy into it. It is not happening. That money is not there. They are trying to scam the last little bit they can to stay alive, to fight back. There's another group out in Hawaii that's doing that, and it's supposed to be headed up by a very popular guru, right, in the currency world, who is an absolute fraud, and there is nobody who knows that better than me. And I won't say anybody's name, but you ought to know by now. He has done nothing but, and I can tell you that who that individual is behind the scenes is someone who does not even like people. He is not heading up any kind of movement to try to help anyone. That is not his intent. He is here to, he is part of the NSA. He's an extension of this evil that's out there. And I'm telling you, whether he knows it or not, that's those are his sources. That's what he's doing. That's what they're using him for. And they're out there talking about this new humanitarian program, and it's an old system. It's not going to bring you any money. There's another one out of DC, right? And it's a trust, and they describe themselves just like Manna. They sound just like the Manna World Holding Trust. I checked it all with Kim. They are technically they're out of the Philippines, and they don't have a dime. They don't have any money. There isn't another source for funding. There is not. Even the banks are desperate. Fiji, we were just talking about the Fijian government. They don't have money. Why? Because the IMF is broke. The World Bank is broke. The Bank of International Settlements is broke. What's the other one? The United Nations broke, busted. There's no money in the coffers of our oppressors. So think about it. The prison doors are open. The prison doors are open. All of the, all of the guards, they're all tied up, and you have been wrongly imprisoned, and you are being set free. Stop. Like, get out. All you got to do is walk out.
Cell. Get up. Get off the cot. Just say goodbye. As you're walking out to the guards. Let's get going. Stop waiting.
And because I've been accused of this a little bit, people get very discouraged by this. Listen, what are you talking about? Everything you ever dreamt about, all your enemies have no power for the first time ever. And I'm saying now's the time to go. Now, and I'm telling you, there's no one else has given you so much evidence, so much proof, put it out there, laid it out for you repeatedly. Nobody has done it more than we have in the past year. And I don't mean just me and Dan. I mean, like, Dan has helped, recently in the past 3 months. Thomas and I have been putting things out. I mean, I've been putting things out constantly that are documented on the Speak Project. Kim herself has come out. She's the first person in that one of these positions whose name whose picture you have, who's been on calls, answered questions directly from people. Give me the Chinese elder who you've been able to talk to that way. Give me the, one of these other, benevolent families, right? That you've been able to, that the average person has been able to just connect with, right? It is that humble and that informative, and will tell you everything. Nobody. So sorry. Hopefully, let Tui rock it from there. I just want to make sure I got that out.
Hey, Tui.
Hi, Dan.
Hey, Tui.
Hey,
Well,
greetings.
Welcome back.
Hi, Dan.
Hey, man.
So
How are you guys doing?
We're doing.
Go ahead.
I'm doing great, man. I'm excited. Happy. Please, rolling with the flow.
Indeed. Just like you said, we just came back from the waterfall.
So do you like my idea of hot and cold running waterfalls?
Yes.
Yeah.
We have some part of Fiji.
If
We
you
have some part of Fiji that I like that.
you know, a river down from the mountains in the other.
Yeah. We have that here also, and some part of Fiji. Some part of the land are still active, and so yeah, we just oh, and Tank. I'm just here with Kevin, and we've already called through your help through um, Telegram. We were able to talk with his daughter.
Oh,
And
good. Wow, there we go. I like that. That makes me happy. Yeah, that's.
and
I'm glad. I'm glad. She's a sweetheart of a kid, missing her dad. You know, that is so good. I'll tell you that's the whole cycle. You know, we're connecting all these worlds all at once. You know, I love that. I love that.
yeah, I mean, speaking of connecting, now that Kevin is here and he's learning a lot about how what it means and how to actually regenerate what you call sovereignty to every individual on the planet, which is what Kim's role is. Why is it so important? And he's now actually figuring out and how that experience of moving, of connecting, and just greeting people and talking to them and truly valuing them for who they are. That this is, like I told him, you don't need a center to be just in a simple place. The first thing we need to do is for everyone to greet each other. That's why he's asking you to come and visit you, because there'll be a lot of people involving in the project, and they've never even met you, Tank, and they're living there in the US, and and you just get into contact by through calling, and there are the times that people can actually physically go and just meet each other, talk about it, and this creates that value, that bond, and this is what the healing of the planet needs to be like. And so this is what we understand as, sorry.
No, I was just agreeing.
Yeah, and this is what we understand. Yes, this is what we understand as that our role as chiefs here, as part of our role here in Fiji. Because if you come to Hawaii or to Fiji, you'll see the people wholeheartedly involve and greet you, and that actually changes your experience in your DNA, and you'll be able to then that's how sovereignty exchange, and then that's how we have to do it to the rest of the plant and animal kingdom, and to be able to get connected with them. And so if we can create projects that at least starts with us, I know you guys in the US would be, sometimes you live just close by with your neighbors, and you hardly even meet them, or you hardly even know them. And yeah, here in Fiji, everyone knows each other. It's so easy for me to go into any part of Fiji, and we're able to just meet up and recognize each other and respect them, not because of what they have or what their name are or the status or whatever illusions they come with, but just because they're just beings and human beings just like you, with the same kind of problems, with the same kind of learning. And so to be able to do these individually and learn from each other and create and give value to each other, and then ultimately, as a group, as a nation, we'll be able to actually grow and strengthen that ties, that bond. And this is what this is what involves a recognition of what sovereignty is. And just a simple, just come in, say hi, talk about life, humble here. And so when you come to our islands, it's hardly a stranger, because you can talk to anyone, and then you are connected right away because of the same state of awareness that we all have. And and sometimes people don't understand that this is what the cabal has been doing, the whole separation thing. They've made you like they make you be enemies, or just like thinking that your neighbor is your enemy, and you hardly ever talk to them. And yeah, this fear, and it's the way it's been programmed, and you are thinking that you have to compete with each other to actually work and do this. So this is everything that has to be healed, and there is a lot of healing that needs to take place individually and as a group and as a whole collective. And so if we would be able to do that as humanity, or as human, we'll be able to connect to the rest of the animal and the plant kingdom so easily. So like is what Kim's role is. And if people can see that, and people like I know there are people that have requested for assistance for their projects, and at least if they can like if they can do that, they just meet each other up. You guys there in the US talk. This will carry a lot of value into the changing of what a future can be, because it's what is real. That's the only thing that's is actually truly real when you do that with one another. Everything else, planning and all these are just illusion. And if we don't do this with each other, then it's always in the future that these things will happen, and it will never happen in the now. And so I told Kevin, see, you've taught everyone a very big lesson, and that's why everything is stuck right now. It's because of the separation, the fear, and these are lessons that everyone will have to learn together, and to take away the fear that is within us, and to be able to just you can drive 20 or 2,000 miles or 1,000 few hundred miles to a friend that you've been contacting like you've been in contact on Facebook, or you have the same interest, and you just go, just by you doing that and connecting that connection, you have created a ripple effect on the electromagnetic energy of the planet. And that's why it's so easy here in Fiji. Like for me with the Chiefs, I can go anywhere in Fiji and I do the same thing, and they were just calling me before Dan actually sent me the link, and there are more people there now than the day that Kevin came and was welcome. And so I told them, I'm sorry, we have to do some healing with my friend that's coming, with my visitor. And so he has a lot to learn, and to be able to not his awareness, but his body, his physical body, and through the experience that we are going through discussion, through creating awareness with him, he was able to heal himself. He was able to he was no longer looking at himself as a victim or as something about his past, but then now he's controlling his past, and like he understands that the past is just illusion, and then he can reveal it from within himself. And so this kind of learning, this kind of healing can only take place when you physically go through a three-dimensional reality. You have to move your body, you have to experience, and this is how your DNA will actually change, and you ultimately will become more strong in individual cells, and then working together, and you'll be able to channel the positive energy that's coming onto the planet so much faster, so much easier, and you don't have to like think about what you're trying to do or trying to look for someone to teach you or do. No, it's just the body. It's already known. You will change what you're eating, you'll change how you think about things. You'll change the way all this, because of how your body is actually changing. And so ultimately you're just reprogramming yourself. And if everyone can actually do that, and get out of their comfort zone and just try and do something physically, connect yourself with your friends that you have the same, and you'll see it will just build up from there. And simply I know, yeah. And with Kim's help, it will just accelerate the whole thing with the financial help, and it will accelerate it really well. And so I guess that's one of the reasons why we took that role up as the people here in my country. We will be able to teach everyone that the whole center is the whole planet, and we should move ourselves around, and we should recognize each other as we move around, learn from all the cultures that we go across. And this is the way that we reconnect ourselves to the past of all the differences, and reuniting now will heal all these differences that we have, and we'll be able to forgive all the big wars, all the big people that like people that has been in control of the trust in the past, and they're just more victim and more enslaved than we are. And if we don't recognize that, and if we can heal ourselves, we will always create that victim way of thinking, and like it's given to us to actually heal them. That's we were talking about that yesterday, and I know they have choices, they have lessons to learn, but like I always said, we are all part of the same being. Just right now, we're just learning how to actually reconnect and reorganize and try and revalue the past, so we can actually heal ourselves now, and then we recreate the new in the future. And like I think, I can talk a little bit more on it, but basically the DNA. That's how it. People. You've people like Dan and Tank. You've learned from it. You've been somewhere and then you come back. You're a totally different person, and because your DNA has gone through the experience that it needed. And so, if we do that more, we will heal everything, because you will open up the mind, not just the mind, the conscious mind, but the subconscious part of you, and you'll be open to the planet, to the awareness of everything around you, just by doing that. And this is what it comes down to what sovereignty is, and sovereignty of all individual. And so like with people, yes, go ahead.
So you said you're a completely different person, right? And you go somewhere and come back, and you said get out of your comfort zone. And so these are just represent that if you like leave that box that you're in, right? You get outside the box, you can experience new things, and that will actually change you. So some people need to have that physically get up and get out of the box for things to change. So at any moment you can decide that things are different, and they are from that point on. So but if for the people that need to literally experience something different, take a new route to work. Go someplace that you aren't used to. It could be a park. It could be, a different part of the neighborhood. You can just do something different, and you will be able to experience something new, such as stop following the GCR, and you'll be a completely new person.
Indeed.
Yes. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, because at this time we're actually talking about how sovereignty can be returned, or to an individual, or a nation, or just a group of tribe, and or the whole world. And we are just actually talking about healing, and that's all we're doing. We're going to try and heal the planets, and that's what the projects are, healing. That's what everyone that's is involved in the project, or deciding to make a project. They're not just trying to heal the planet; they're actually healing themselves by doing that project and fulfilling their soul agreement. Because that's how it feels like when everyone is in place together as one. We'll be able to just regenerate, relearn how to actually regenerate ourselves, and through the experience that we are going through, we'll be able to grow and we'll be able to choose and create a new future together. And so sovereignty, if you're talking about it, it's basically healing every cells in the body, every awareness of the awareness between your spiritual and your physical part of you. And then as you become one, as you become more aware, as you become more matured, you will learn everything that you've experienced in life is an accident, or is not it's not a coincidence. And that's what Kevin is actually coming to learn here, that all the experience he's gone through, no matter how low it has gone, and no matter how high it has gone, and the worst of the worst that you can think. And and now that he's realizing that all that brought him here, and now that he's here, all those things, he said he can do that all over again if he has to. And that being healed and being, and then you fully understand and what you've been through, and this gives you what wisdom is. And so it's what Tank was talking with him yesterday, and he asked him what he was learning, and and he can't even put it into words, because it's not his mind, or it's not he cannot explain it. He just have to experience it, because it's not his awareness or the mind that is learning. It is the whole body and experience and realignment. So it will take him like the same lifetime, that 46 years, to try and explain that the change that he just felt, because that's what the 46 years has done to his DNA. And and now he's finally realizing it. And this like I said, we are in a very great time, very of experience, a very good time of awareness, that everyone will have to be relearning the probabilities of what their life is, and will be able to recollect it and heal, and then heal one another, and then get back that innate essence, and of just by realizing each other to be like the creative energy within each, and then heal and regenerate and remember the sovereignty of each individual, including all life forms on the planet.
Well, let me ask you something off the wall question. What?
Yes, indeed.
How did you sleep last night?
Oh, very well.
Because I slept for 9.5 hours, and I normally sleep 6 to 7 hours. And I literally just 35 minutes before the show start, I went, oh wow, what happened?
That is good. That is good. The peace in the planet is actually being experienced all throughout the whole planet, and so this will happen to the body. It will change sleeping. What you call that? Sleeping.
I said, well, oversleep is a common term used. Overslept. Yeah, I overslept. Yeah, slept past my normal wake up time, which is 6 to 7 in the morning. I woke up at 8:30, but I went to bed early too. So that was the thing. 9.5 hours is 3 hours longer than normal.
Nice. Nice. You talk about healing.
Yeah, the channels of the planet, I feel like all the energy is flowing in. It can put you to sleep. Yeah, your body's got to adjust.
Yeah, make some adjustments. All right. Well, so we've been adjusted. So I'm feeling the energy. I'm very now. I have extra energy for the day. Right. Here we go.
Exactly.
The battery. That's another phrase to use, right? Recharge your batteries. Right.
Yep.
So, well, we can call this one. Where I think we're only an hour and a half in. Can you imagine?
Well,
we can.
I have a question for Tui though.
Oh no!
For you.
Okay, we can keep. Now this is only an
Yes,
hour.
please go ahead.
So Tui, some of my intuitive friends and various seers that come together to to see stuff in the other dimensions. They described to me today that this alignment between of all the events in all the dimensions, they described a what they try to put into words for me. They said kind of like a almost like a a sending off or a funeral type ceremony for the old paradigm and a celebration of this new age beginning. Um, and they acknowledged, they said there was this alignment with this divine feminine energy, um, you know, kind of presenting its mastery at this stage. And that was just today. That was earlier today. And I'm just curious if that matches up with what you're seeing as well.
Yes, indeed. I mean, that's like you've seen that. You asked me a question about what you're looking at when you see those these tall beings with robes and that being that you met, and you will see if you see them, like if you see them as an individual, then that is you. But if you see them as a group, then the time probability has changed, and according to what you value, your understanding, and what you're actually seeing, that's just representing the how we have changed the probability of the future. And so, I mean, you asked me yesterday what it means, and so even the high dimension or the future people, call them the future because it has to do with not just space or just dimension, but time is actually one of the DNA agreement that is that causes this the difference in where you are. And so if they're in the high dimension, then they will be from our past or our future as well. And so we are here at the low dimension. And so for everyone to be recognizing the change and just working together, we are just fulfilling the soul agreement that we all are here to actually fulfill or to experience. And our DNA, even if you don't want it to be, your body will just do it because it's part of the subconscious program that you're born here with. And so people will just do whatever they're doing, and then it will just be part of you can control it, no matter how much you try and change. So this even include the people in the cabal. And so that's what you're looking at, or you're looking at when you see them involving with the cabal, because of what you understand on the questions in your mind about, how about the cabal and what's going on with them. And this is how they answer your questions on how the probability works. And so all of them are part of this movement. All of them are part of the agreement of how the lessons has to be learned, how love has to be expressed from its being. And in this way, sovereignty will be regained and remembered. And so it's all part of a big, big picture that we might physically, in a physical level, try to ask and try to be satisfied with what we understand and what we know, because that's, the physical level actually limits you from all the connection. And so if people fully connect with them within themselves, like what you did yesterday or what you saw, this just shows that you are very, like, for example, you tank a very special, that you can actually see the future probabilities, the things that are happening, and then you have a deeper connection. And I know that's, this is the reason why you are involved in this big change, and this is why both of you are involving in it. And so not just not just involving trying to help people or just heal the planet, but also involving it to heal yourself and to fully understand your role as we go through time together, as we talk, and and things make sense to all the experiences that you have come across through your life. And so all this is just working together, and like just by talking like this on the phone, maybe one day in the future we'll be able to like soon, because that's one of the project that we have in Fiji is simply that we are not going to build any like do any help people centers to try and cater. No, we're gonna heal the people first. We're gonna go and show them and physically meet with them, talk with them, care, and with the help of what the money is, and we're gonna do it here, not only here in Fiji. We're gonna do it here with the rest of the Pacific Islands, with Hawaii, with Kim, with everyone. We'll invite everyone to this thing, because we are not just trying to heal us. We are trying to heal everyone that's involved in, because this is how it happens. It's not someone having power to be able to heal someone. No, everyone will have to learn to heal themselves, and this is the only way true sovereignty will be able to regain and remember. Because ultimately, you all understand, it's just inside. Yeah, and so I'm thankful for that question. As we go, because a lot of times speaking it is actually wrong. Just by going through it within a few days, we'll be able to fully understand that answer. And just by experiencing, and you'll see the changes that comes in, and things, miracles can happen. That's what I meant. And no matter how much we see the world right now, within a few days it will change. Within a few months, it will change so much. Yeah, I've just been told in January that this year will be accelerating really fast on not just the time, but actually the changes that are happening, because the whole planet is ready. And so I guess that's one of the reasons why we are speaking right now, and we're talking and we are discussing, and we are growing together, and we're healing each other by doing it. I'm not just sharing things with you. No, I'm actually fulfilling my role by doing it and healing myself and where I am, and the energy that I'm here, my DNA, and the connection that I have to the people here and the land. That's what we're doing. And by thinking about it, we are actually recreating the future that we need, the future that we want. And yeah, I'm thankful for that question.
Yeah, Tui, and I want to let you know too that I've got a little production team who is working on launching a network so that we can have a network that is speaking the truth, right? During this transitional time, until things change completely. And Dan just mentioned that it's Rich Hoagland, right? Isn't that the name you mentioned, Dan?
Richard Hoagland, yes.
Richard Hoagland, right? So Richard Hoagland is his one of his producers is working with us, or former producers for something, and he's got a show, and he would definitely like to interview you. I believe is what what the producer's trying to set up, Azura. So she's just let you know that when you want to expand that message, that's someone who's got a little bit more of a popular name. So I figure
interview me.
Interview you, yes. What do you mean you? Why you say it like that? Why you say it like that? Yeah. Think about it. You hold the secrets to this whole process. You are the you represent the whole the first of the tribes to step forward. This is an ancient legend that you are bringing into our current time. This manages and irons out so many wrinkles and so many different stories, right? So I'm just letting you know. When you're ready for that, you let me know.
Indeed.
I met Richard Hoagland one time at the Conscious Life Expo in Los Angeles. We shared a meal together. Yeah. But I always followed his work, and it's I love that it comes at it from always a scientific approach, right? And without like let's say being prejudiced against certain types of information, or the idea of quantum mechanics or toroidal fields and all the rest of the, they all play a part in things. And when science restricts them in order to feedback. I'm going to mute you for a second. We do have someone else that has joined us. I put our link out on our super chat. So Wasabi is there. So if you have anything to say, Wasabi, you're welcome to join in the conversation.
Ginger Wasabi. Love it.
Go ahead. Go for it. We hear you.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Thanks for inviting me on.
Well, thanks for joining. So are you in Hawaii?
Who else is there?
We're all
I'm hearing my feedback. So what do I do?
You turn off your speakers.
Yeah.
Or you mute the video. That's it. Mute the video.
Okay.
Yeah, you can pause it too. Pause or mute, either way.
Just pause it. Okay.
Because now you're on. You're here live, so you don't have to.
Now how is it?
Oh, we didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
It was you hearing yourself. So I know that's very confusing when you hear the echo. Yeah,
Hey Ginger, did you call to talk to Tui about the dolphins?
Okay.
Go ahead. You're on.
Well, I just wanted to connect, and well, actually, when I first heard Tui come on, I'm hearing myself still, even though I'm on pause. That's weird. I wonder if should I just get rid of the YouTube altogether?
Just mute yourself, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Mute. Where is the mute button?
There
it is. Now I got it, I think. Okay. So I just was suddenly really excited because I have a very, very deep passion for the Hawaiian culture, and a connection to it, and these islands. But I'm not Hawaiian, and there's a lot of how should I say, some folks here that are still pretty upset what happened with the takeover, and from the corporate takeover here, imprisoning the queen in her palace, and all of that history. And I'm always looking for overlaps with Native cultural knowingness, Native intelligence, we like to call it here. And I thought at first my project would be something around that. But then I got later that I need to be doing something about the now. But anyway, I just would like to extend, my alohas to you and all you're doing, and my mahalos, and, however it is that you are guided to connect with the appropriate person here in the islands. So I'm totally fascinated with, who that's going to be. I know Tank has someone that has contacted him, but I'm just so excited. So over and out.
Wait, Ginger.
But Ginger, don't run away.
I'm here.
Yeah.
No, I'll just stay on. Yeah.
So Wasabi, Ginger Wasabi, could you talk? Because when you first called me, you talked about your experience with the young lady who showed proof that dolphins were sentient beings.
Oh, well, let me tell you about Joan Ocean. She's not a young lady. She's, we're all getting up there, well into our 60s and 70s now. But she came here to the islands.
Wait. Before you go any further.
Yeah.
The human lifespan is 1,000 years. Unless she's closer to 1,000, she's a young lady. Please, for the record.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I love you, Tank. Anyway, so, but she came here, oh gosh, she was born on the East Coast, and lived in Seattle for a while and then came here on a vacation about maybe 35 years ago or so. And long story short, she wound up on the big island, Kealakekua Bay, living on the bay, and with her partner, they would go out swimming, and these dolphins were always there. And they would be out with them for like 5 hours at a time, no one else around. This is a long time ago. And they begin to realize, oh my goodness, these are sentient beings and they're trying to wake us up. And they want us to, they're, how should I say, I've actually witnessed, for example, that they will deliberately, if they know if you have, like, you're battling with cancer, for example, they will encircle you because they're they're all about frequency, right? And, there are endless extraordinary stories. And because she realized what they were here to do to help us, to evolve, to wake up and evolve, she started having retreats. And of course, about, 5 years into doing it, the military slapped her a big $5,000 fine. They don't want us working and being out in the water with whales or dolphins because these are sentient beings that exist at a much higher dimension, and they're a huge group soul that are here to assist us. So there you go.
Well, that's flipping amazing, first of all, right? And I love that story, and I think it goes right along with what Tui said, talking about speaking to the the whale people, dolphin people, right? Because the reality is, our behavior has injured our relationship with these different sentient beings, right? So now they stay away from us, for the most part. So I just thought that was a beautiful, beautiful example of that corroborating evidence.
Well, let me add even more. So I worked next to a concierge desk that, guests are coming up and they're booking tours like whale watches, and, they want to see the dolphins and all this stuff. And I begin to realize, holy smokes. So Joan Ocean, and then there's another couple, Doug and Trish, and then Celeste. They're all really tight friends. They live in South Kona. And so they've been holding retreats for years. And usually they'll go like to Tonga because it's legal to swim with the whales there, or Tahiti, Moorea, or they'll go to Dominican Republic. So, we're talking decades of connectings, and people come from all over the world to come to their retreats. And so where am I going with this? I can go in so many different directions. So that's been happening. Oh, I know. So when I was sitting next to the concierge desk for a year and a half, doing a different job, I began to realize it was Joan Ocean and her friends that is why on the big island of Hawaii, the dolphins here really want to be with us. There's none of the other islands. I mean, yeah, they have, boat tours that you can go on and see the dolphins. And if you get in the water, they'll just swim away most of the time. Okay. But here they hang out in pods and they want to be with us. And so I credit Joan for that, much to the Navy's chagrin. Anyway, and she has spearheaded with a very brilliant lawyer, Lenny Sinkin, who, he's done a lot of really important activist work over the decades, but they tried to stop the Navy from doing the they send out signals and they're testing, and it really makes the whales and the dolphins sick. And you've probably heard of it, like in the Pacific coast, they'll end up just like beaching themselves and other places around the world. And even though Lanny wins most of his cases, they've never been able to stop this. I think in certain parts of Southern California, it's now been stopped. But yeah, it's just, and then the other thing on the, how should I say, that the spiritual side of the, I call it the Cetacean Nation, is that as Hawaiians have been reawakening up, and I've seen other Pacific Islanders wake up to their Amakua. Now, what is an Amakua? What is the predominant nature spirit guide? So, for example, the shark could be the Manna, could be your family, you know, generationally, your protector, your guide. And so once you start aligning yourself consciously with that spirit, it will guide you. So when Tui came out with the whale tooth, you know, right away I just clicked. It was like, okay, yeah. So then there's all this whole nother layer that needs to be, in my opinion, understood, because what the Draco reptilian agenda has done here is, if you're going to rule a solar system, a planet, first of all, you got to take out your shamans, your kahunas, and then you got to disconnect the people from Mother Earth and all the nature spirits. And so people have lost that connection. And, you know, I've always wanted to do something about that, but I've never known how to do it. People still seem kind of like they're sort of wandering around a bit lost. But so anyway, I want to communicate that as well and see what Tui has to say about that. Is he always, did he go?
I think we might have lost Tui.
Oh, shucks. All right. Anyway,
but I'm sure he'll hear what you had to say, and he'll come back around to it next time we talk.
I want to add something to what you said when you first came on. You said that the Hawaiians were upset about the corporate takeover of Hawaii. They're still upset. And I would like to add that I'm upset about the corporate takeover of America, as well as the corporate takeover of the rest of the world, because it's just all one thing. You know, I was there, you know, a year in February of last year, you know, for a month, and worked with a couple of the sovereignty movements there, and yeah, I got the history lesson, and I think it was atrocious what happened to them to displace that monarchy that was definitely the rightful you know, governing body. They just took it over. You know, the sugar barons did it, but you know, this is the same thing they do everywhere.
Yeah, it's colonialism. It's Draco reptilian colonialism.
That's one of their tools. Yeah, the colonialism. Yeah, using England, you know, to bring the system around the world. You know, but you know, the Spanish and the French, they were all doing it. And now the U.S. is just the military arm of it. But we see it as the U.S. being colonialist, but it's really just the military part of this shadow government that is worldwide shadow government. So yeah, it's upsetting. So we need to stop participating with them and build our own.
Well, what's really, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
What's really been frustrating for me, so just to back up a little bit, how I got back to the islands in the early 60s, my parents were surfers in California, and then so we moved over here in the early 60s, and we lived on the North Shore. And then we moved on to Australia in 68. Well, I came back 32 years later, and I was just shocked because I had no idea, you know, what had happened here and what felt like what happened to my people, even though, you know, I'm Caucasian. And it was devastating. and I couldn't stop crying. I mean, I cried for 3 years, and I was studying hula and all that, chant and the whole thing, and but anyway, but once I kind of got over it and I started seeking truth, I began to realize no matter who I talked to, what I read, there were huge amount of conflicting beliefs. And so I couldn't take sides. I had to just embrace all of it, whatever I heard, because you really don't have a choice. If you're going to go down all the rabbit holes of, Hawaiian history and everything, starting with Kamehameha the Great, and really what has happened among the Pacific Islands. It's huge. It's messy. It's ugly. And so what the problem is, it's so frustrating because the Hawaiians generationally are still outraged over what happened here. They haven't done their homework. They don't realize that there's this huge history about humans in this planet and native peoples, and they're just only looking at the past, 100 years, and it's crazy. So a lot of emotional stuff still going on here. So
Yes, and it's rightfully so. They had a population of 2 million people living, fishing, farming. There's 2 million Hawaiians when the colonialists showed up, and now there's still 2 million people living there, but only 10,000 are of native blood. So it's really atrocious to even think about what has happened to that whole society that was living at the same level of 2 million people, but they were all Hawaiians back then.
yep.
And I'm not saying people that are born there today are not Hawaiians. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying about that bloodline being beaten back to the point of almost extinction. It was a genocide. And they had a letter from Bill Clinton, apologizing for the genocide. I saw that at the Nation of Hawaii, Banco Bumpy. It showed that to me. So I mean, it was just such an eye opener, because I'd been to Hawaii many times for vacations, right? And within the little bubble of the environment that where we experience, and the things that we also accepted was that it's so expensive on the island. Everything is so much more expensive because it's an island, and we just accept that excuse. Okay, but in this last trip, I don't accept that excuse. What is going on? There's the Jones Act that basically forces all trade, everything to go to the U.S. mainland and get taxed and sent back to Hawaii. Now that's making things where I was looking at like a bag of tortilla chips in the market, right? Now I know if I was in California, it would have been 99 cents, but there it was $7. That's crazy. One can of soda. I mean, it's not that soda is good for you, but as a reference of pricing point, it was $3 for one can. This is just in the market. And so, I had asked someone on one of the walkabouts that I went on, and they were just surveying this little residential area. They were going to be doing some construction. The guy on the street doing the survey equipment, I just went up and started talking with him, and I said, "Hey, where do you guys buy your food and stuff at? Because I looked in the market, it's all very expensive." And he said, "Oh, we've got this one place over there, it's a little less expensive, but yeah, it's all very expensive." And he said he works $3 so that he can afford to eat. So it's craziness as I think about that. And that's why I had suggested, since one of the other sovereignty groups there, they had opened their own port, and they literally had circumvented the Jones Act, which is the regulation of the USA Inc. On the Hawaiian sub corporation of USA Inc. The state of Hawaii. And they opened their own port, and they had a shipment come in from China, right? So I suggested that they open that port and get a lot of more shipments in there, and then open up their own place to serve for people to buy food and everything. But they had to be a member of the I say the monarchy, right? Of the people of Hawaii, and have their own ID cards. And they did. They had their own ID cards, and we even traveled on inter island flights on their IDs, which TSA accepted. So and those IDs were purchased by Silver, right? Not contaminating them by using the Federal Reserve notes. So, but they're making their effort, to be outside of the system. Everyone needs to make the effort to recognize first what the situation is, and then take action, do things, do whatever, even their small things. I'd like to thank you for joining in. This is a good conversation to have. We're talking about with Fiji and Hawaii and Cook Islands, all Marshall Islands, all of coming to a point where we need to all lift out of this debt slavery system. Excuse me.
Indeed. Well, I think that could kind of wrap it up.
Well, and let me just finish really quick. Just so you guys know, I'm here to help. I'm very much, however the dice fall, with Tui's journey and to the islands, to these islands. I'm here, but, if things, need me, that's great too. But just so you know, I'm here.
You rock, Wasabi.
Oh, I don't know, Tank. I don't know. You're my inspiration.
Well, the first time you called me, you didn't even have a project. Listen to you now. Now you're leading the movement. See?
Well, I was so shocked you called me. I didn't even know how you got a hold of my number, or how. I didn't even, because I hadn't called you, and I know you're super busy, and I didn't want to bother you. But here was this guy on my phone who was the redemption guru intel person some years ago. I used to wait for you and Fisher on a bated breath. I mean, God, I love Fisher. I so miss him. But you two were the bomb. And so I all I could do, I was kind of you really caught me off guard. I was like, what? It was so good to hear your voice, though, I have to say, and I love hearing it every day. I love what you guys are doing. So
appreciate the support.
All right, I'll get off. You guys, you need to have your downtime too.
All right, well, I guess it's a good place to wrap up the show for today. So we're here. It's in the 2-hour mark. That's fine. This was originally like if we can keep it down below 2 hours, it's better. I think for the people watching also. We need to get a bathroom break in and so on. So, but thank you for joining us, Ginger, and please come back anytime. I'll keep posting the link, here and there as we go on. Thanks, Tui, for joining in. You don't know if he's still there or not, but his icon is there. And we'll be back tomorrow. And again, please like this, pound that like. You have a share?
Indeed.
Copy and paste the link. Hello, Tui.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Tank.
Blessings.
Thank you, everyone that's watching live. Thank you, guys, on the chat room. Thank you so much for joining us today. blessing and love from Fiji. You guys take care.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye,
Have a great night, Dan.
Aloha.